Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankarācārya-madhyamām Asmadācārya-paryantām Vande Guru-paramparām Paramparasyaः prakriteranādin Ekam nivishtam bahudha guhasu Sarvalayam sarvacharācharastham Tvameva Vishnum Sharanam Prapadye. Dehendriyeshu niyatah karma gunaha kurvate svabhogartham naham karta na mameti janataha karmanaiva badhnati anya sharirena kritam karma bhavedyena deha utpannaha tadavasyam bhoktavyam bhogadeva kshayosya nirdishtaha. So we were looking at the answer for the question which the Shishya asked already about the one who knows about the difference between the Prakriti and the Purusha. The Prakriti itself is made up of three gunas. Again, the word guna is generally translated as quality, but here guna is not a quality. Okay, this also one should be clear. If you just go by English translation, sometimes you can get confused. The guna in Sankhya is actually a constituent. It should not be translated as a quality because we say Prakriti is Trigunatmika. It is made up of three things. So the gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas are the constituents of Prakriti. And from that, this entire world has come. That is our model of creation. The Prakriti, which is Trigunatmika, only gives rise to the Pancha Mahabhutas. Before that, in fact, it becomes the collective Buddhi, Ahankara and all that. Okay, it is initially undifferentiated, we say Avyaktaha. Then when the differentiation starts, initially, because knowledge is the first thing always which should be there, correct? From knowledge alone, any creation can come. So that's why the Buddhi or Mahat it is called at the total level or Samashti level. So like this, we have a evolution of Prakriti, which becomes this elemental world and even our subtle world also. The elemental physical world and the subtle world, which includes all our organs of action, or sense organs, and even mind and intellect, all these things. Now, the difference between these and the conscious entity, which is the Purushaha, one has to be very clear. If you are clear about that, that means you are clear about Atma and Anatma. What is Atma? What is Anatma? If you are clear, then what is the implication of that? Naham karta namameti janataha. Then what happens? You know that I am not a karta. Even in the Gita, the entire Gita, Bhagavan is teaching this only. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani, like that, correct? So, guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. In many places, the Prakriti only is doing things. Atma is akarta, abhokta. The one who sees action in inaction and inaction in action. He is the jnani, like that, and all Bhagavan says. And while talking about himself also, he says, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram api mam vidya akartaram avyayam. Even though I am the one who has created all these things, you can say from one standpoint, but I am avyaya, I am unchanging, invariable reality, indestructible also, because I am unchanging, and also I am not a karta bhukta, really speaking. Correct? Navadware pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan kam ghatayati hantikam Everywhere you see that this Atma is presented as Akarta, Abhokta. That is the entire teaching of Gita is that only. The entire teaching of Vedanta also is that only, because the Atma is wrongly identified with the Anatma, which is Prakriti, and all the activities of the Prakriti now becomes one's action. That's how one becomes an actor. In reality, you are not an actor, you are not an enjoyer also. Enjoying also happens only in the buddhi, you can say. Correct. When you identify with your sense organs and your own I thought, you can say, the karta bhokta is there in the I thought. So one has to understand the source of this I thought. One has to inquire into who am I, correct? Because whatever you think you are and whatever you have taken for granted, because everybody takes oneself for granted and keeps pursuing objective knowledge about the world. And this objective knowledge is endless. And by the time you know something about the world, your life will come to an end. But keeping away these external things, try to know yourself first. Have you known yourself properly? Because any amount of objective knowledge is not making you any happier. Understand that. So one has to know oneself if one has to be happy. Because pursuit of happiness is the only pursuit of everybody, in fact. And to have unqualified happiness, first I have to know myself. And when I know myself correctly, it is as good as knowing everything else also, in fact. So, but how do I know myself? Means I am not anything I know. That is the first step. You start from there. And then you realize that I am this conscious entity. There is no other consciousness. In fact, I am the only conscious entity whose very existence is borrowed by all the entire objective universe, including space and time. I am not in space and time. Space time is in me. All objects are in me. All beings are in me. Sarva bhutastham atmanam sarva bhutani cha atmani ikshate yoga yuktatma. Like that, Bhagavan says in the Gita. Same thing is said in the Ishavasya Upanishad also. All the beings are in me. And I am there in all the beings as their very self. Because they all borrow the very existence from me alone. As I am the only consciousness which is there, and all the objective world, whatever objects are there, they are all only names and forms. They keep on changing. They don't have any essence of themselves. Because you cannot separate out the awareness from the object of awareness. Always objects are there only in awareness. And awareness is always there, objects are changing. That means awareness is the invariable, and that is I, in fact, really. Because whatever is unchanging and which is always there alone can be your very nature, correct? That's why one has to understand even your own individuality is only an appearance. It is not your nature. Because if I ask any of you, who are you? You will say, I am so and so, I am the son or daughter of so and so. My name is this. All these things are based on the waking individual's identity. You take the waker as the invariable. But in reality, if you analyze the three states of experience, everybody has dreaming, waking, sleeping. Now the mistake you make is you think the waker is the invariable in all these things. The waker is not invariable. Okay. Atma is the invariable. The self is the invariable. In fact, the waking individuality is gone. It is replaced in sleep, or it is not at all there in sleep. It is not even cognized. And in dream, it is replaced by another individuality. The dream individuality can be anything. You are not identifying with the same body mind sense complex in dream. You may even identify as a different species. Okay, or a beggar will become a king. King can become a beggar. All these things can happen in dream. So basically, the waking identity is not invariable. It is replaced completely, or it is not at all there in sleep. But I am there always as a conscious entity. So consciousness alone is the invariable. That alone is your nature. That alone never changes. The waking individuality is gone in dream. Dream individuality is gone during waking. Both of them are not there in sleep. That's why you are not also a sleeper. Understand that. Sleep is also only for the body mind sense complex. In fact, the mind, when the mind holds and it is no more active, that is sleep. Atma is not sleeping. Atma is always awake because it never loses its awareness. So, once you analyze yourself like this and understand that you are only the consciousness which is just present, in whose presence everything is happening, what is the implication? Naham karta namama. I am not the doer. I am akarta. Aham abhokta. Okay. And nothing is mine also. There is no real connection between me and all these things which are coming and going. It's all only adhyastha. They are all mithya. They are not even of the same order of reality. I am the Satya Vastu consciousness. And once you understand this knowledge itself will burn all the karma. Karma naiva badhnati. Karma cannot bind you. Okay, here one doubt may come. Is there not mutual dependence? Karma produces body, body produces karma. Like this means, okay, that is now answered in the next verse. At least the mutual dependence is not there because currently whatever karma you are enjoying, that was produced by some other sharira, correct? Anya sharirena kritam karma bhavedyena deha utpannaha. So this deha right now you have, it was produced because of karma we say, but that karma itself was produced by some other deha. And because of it, this is now born, correct? Yena dehaha utpannaha. And in general, what do we say? Tad avashyam bhoktavyam bhogadeva kshayosya nirdishtaha. So it has been shown by the Shastras, by the Gurus in our tradition. What has been shown? That karma avashyam bhavi, we say. Means, as long as you think you are a karta, the karma has to be exhausted only by enjoying it, by experiencing it. You cannot really escape. In fact, many times in the life we see that many things are not uh, according to at least your own liking, correct? Many things are, you think that whoever is doing all wrong things, they are all prospering, happy, good people are suffering and all that. In fact, if you get into all that analysis, it is a never ending thing. You cannot conclude anything. The ways of karma is gahana. In fact, gahana karmano gatihi. Like that, even in the Gita, Bhagavan says. So, individual person's karma, one cannot analyze all that and come to any conclusion. Why it is like that? It is beyond us because we are limited in knowledge. Only Bhagavan knows all that. So, you have to leave whatever is Bhagavan's, let him do his work. We don't have to interfere there. Therefore, this too much of analysis into karma and all that is not relevant. It's not useful also for you. First, you see whether you are a karta or not. Analyze that. Okay, you are thinking that you are a samsari, you are suffering, you are subjected to suffering, correct? All these things, you are limited. That is your view about yourself. Whether is there any truth to that, one has to analyze. And if we say this body is born of some karma, since this body is already born, that karma has to be only enjoyed, and it has to be uh, exhausted, we say. Because whatever is already started, we say it is like a mukta ishuvat. It is like an arrow which has already left the bow. Okay, it will fall after some time, or you have switched off the fan, it is still rotating for some time, correct? Because already there is some momentum, it will come to a stop. But like that, that's how in fact we can even explain this Guru Shishya Parampara and all that. Otherwise, as soon as jnana comes, even prarabdha karma vanishes, let us say, then nobody can be even alive, correct? Everybody has to fall dead immediately. In fact, if that happens, in fact, many people will be even afraid of gaining this jnanam itself. I think you cannot claim your own jnanam, and you cannot enjoy the jnana phala as Jeevanmukta. So, to account for all these things, we have to say the karma which has already started, that has to be exhausted by enjoying. Because in general, about karma, what is said? In fact, there is a famous shloka. Nabhuktam kshiyate karma kalpakotishatairapi avashyameva bhoktavyam kritam karma shubha shubham. So whether it is shubha karma, ashubham karma, punya papa, avashyam bhoktavyam. You have to definitely enjoy it, experience it, because whatever karma which has been accumulated by you, even after kalpa koti shata also, it will be there. Till you gain this jnanam, it will be there. Till you think you are a karta, it will be there. It doesn't get exhausted. In fact, it continues across cycles of creation. That is our understanding. And therefore, any karma, anything you have done, the results of that have to you will have to experience, no doubt about this. So there is some justice. Whether it happens immediately in front of your eyes is a different thing, and we don't even have to go into all that. This much you understand. Now this verse is there in different smritis, even in Puranas it is there. Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Narada Purana and all. This Nabhuktam Kshiyate Karma Kalpa Koti Shatairapi Abhuktam Karma Nakshiyate. Without experiencing, it does not go away. This is for the Ajnani, the one who takes oneself as Karta Bhokta, for the Jiva. But then once you understand I am not even a Karta, then how can any karma come to you? There is no real karma. I am not even a karta. Then where is the question of having any karma? That is the jnana drishti. So the jnana drishti is completely different compared to the ajnana drishti. Correct? Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami, we say. In the Gita also Bhagavan says, for what? For ajnanis, whatever is night, that is day for the jnani. And whatever is day for the jnani is night for ajnanis. Correct? Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. Munihi here is jnani only. So that which is seen as day, what is day here? Naham karta namameti. That is the day. That's what jnani is seeing. And therefore there cannot be any karma associated with me, because unless you are a karta, there is no question of any karma connection, correct? But as soon as you think you are a karta, then the connection can never be broken. That is the idea of saying that na bhuktam kshiyate karma. So as long as you take yourself as a karta, you can never get rid of it. So that avashyam bhoktavyam bhogadeva kshayaha asya nirdishta. Therefore, whatever previous sharira did, that produced this body, we accept. Okay. And therefore, there is no interdependence or anything, but it is like Bija Ankura Nyaya and all we say. Even in the Brahma Sutra, this is discussed in the context of Ishvara creating this world and whether Ishvara has partiality and cruelty. Okay, it is called Vaishamyam and Nairghrinyam in the Shastra. Because if you say Brahman is Jagat Karanam, then we say so many things are different in the world, correct? Everybody is not born the same. There is so much Taratamya, we say. There is so much gradation in the creation. Somebody is born rich, somebody is enjoying life, somebody is born poor, somebody may be happy even though they are poor, somebody is rich and unhappy. All these things are there. Rich and happy are also there, poor and unhappy are also there. All kinds of people are there. So is Ishvara not partial? And Ishvara not cruel because he has created all these mosquitoes along with me. That one reason is good enough to say that Ishvara is cruel. If you think like that, then what we say is no, Ishvara is not cruel, Ishvara is not partial. He has created the world so that jivas can exhaust their karma. In keeping with their karma alone, Ishvara has created the different lokas because you have to undergo different experiences. For that, you require different objective worlds. And also you require different bodies with which you can identify. The subjectivity also is created that way. Correct? So Deva Sharira means your identity is different. Manusha Sharira identity is different. Cow Sharira identity is different. Insect Sharira identity is different. What you can exhaust, what karma you can exhaust in all these bodies are also different. Or what karma you can actually gain. In some Sharira we say only Papa Kshaya happens or Karma Kshaya happens. In some where you have free will, you can also gather more karma. Now all these things according to the jiva's karma alone Ishvara is creating. Okay, but what about the first karma, if you ask? Because first karma the jiva is going to create means before that the jivas did not have any karma, but Ishvara still created them differently. Therefore Ishvara is partial and cruel. If we say there is no beginning, there is no time when there was no karma. It is a beginningless cycle. Srishti itself is beginningless. Anadi. This is accepted by all the many. Whoever is proposing karma, they have to accept this. Okay, it is a beginningless cycle, and therefore Ishvara is not bothered about all these things. Ishvara is neither partial nor cruel. So this, and you have to undergo karma, even though in this whole cycle of creation, if you did not experience some karma, still it is there in the next kalpa. You have to experience that. But if you are an ajnani, but what about jnani? Okay, that we will see now. What prajnanotpatti chitam yat karma jnana shikhalidham bijamiva dahana dagdham janma samartham na tadbhavati. Okay, for jnani, I said that karma is burned. Jnanagnis, jnanagnihi bhasmasat kurute, like that Bhagavan also says Vidyate hridaya granthihi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante cha asya karmani. Kshiyante, asya karmani kshiyante. For the jnani, all the karmas are destroyed. Like the Upanishad is saying. So whatever karma you have accumulated before this jnanam happened, They are all burnt by the Jnanagni. Jnanagni is the third eye of Shiva, we say. When that is open, generally in movies and all, physically they show fire, correct? Basically, it is the fire of knowledge. And physical fire also burns down everything. All the Namarupa is gone, only ash is there. That we call Vibhuti or glory. Like that, Jnanagni also only sees the Vastu. All the Namarupa are gone. Vastu alone is there. That's why the Vibhuti or the ash is called Vibhuti or glory. That is the glory of consciousness. The fire of knowledge reduces everything to the glorious consciousness because the Namarupas are no more there really. So Jnana Shikhi. Shikhi means actually fire. Shikha means here we can take it as flame. The flame of the fire, leadham, they are all destroyed, consumed by the Jnana Shikhi, the fire of knowledge. All this karma, whatever you have accumulated before this Jnana came. And even the prarabdha, which has started this body, we say it will continue for some time, but even that and all the other karma you have done in this life, all of them also are like the burnt seed. That is the example we give. Burnt seed cannot sprout anymore. So bijamiva dahana dagdham, whatever has been burnt, the seeds, it may appear like seed still, correct? You roast it and burn it, but it cannot sprout anymore. Janma samartham na tadbhavati. It loses its janma samartha, its ability to start a new life by sprouting. Therefore, like that, this for the jnani, the jnana itself burns all the karma, and therefore there is no question of any karma causing a new birth, etc. But whatever karma which has started this life, it is just continuing due to the existing momentum. Okay, but what about all the karma I have done already in this life? Before this life, whatever I accumulated, they are all burnt. But what about the karma which I am going to do as a Jeevanmukta also? In fact, but a Jeevanmukta appears to be doing karma. But even while I am doing, I have the knowledge that Tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avyayam. That's what the Jeevanmukta is telling all the Ajnanis, the Shishyas, the students also, correct? Even though I appear to be teaching, I appear to be doing things, I am not really the doer. I am not doing anything. Whatever Prarabdha Karma started this body, it is happening. I don't identify with my body, mind, sense complex. It is not even I. That's why in some traditions, all these sadhus, correct, or Pandaram and all in Tamil Nadu, we say, they refer to themselves as idu, this. Okay. Or they will say Ichivam. This Shiva is dealing with that Shiva. And that Shiva is dealing with this Shiva, means everything is Shiva only. Like that, even their regular talking and all, they change in keeping with this knowledge actually. So for such people, whatever they have done before the jnanam happened in this body also, and whatever they are going to do as Jivan Mukta, none of them can touch them. Okay, jnanotpatter urdhamam kriyamanam karma yattadapi nama nashlishyati kartaram pushkara patram yathavari. So the example given is what? It is the example of the lotus and water. This example is given in Gita also. Padmapatram iva ambhasa. Like that. Okay. This example in the 5th chapter Bhagavan gives. But actually this example comes from the Upanishad. It is also said in the Chandogya Upanishad. Okay. Yatha pushkara palasha apaha naslishyanta evam vidhi papam karma na slishyata iti. Like this, yatha pushkara palasha apaha na slishyanta. Evam vidhi papam karma na slishyata iti. Like this, the Chandogya Upanishad also it is said, 4th chapter. So, this lotus and water example is given to show that even though lotus is in the water cannot touch the lotus anymore, because the jnana has shown that you are not even a karta. You may be engaged in lot of activity, correct? So that's what in the 4th chapter of Gita, Bhagavan beautifully says this, correct? Karmanya akarmayah pashyed akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayukta kritsna karma krite. So the one who sees akarma and karma means you look upon, even though the body mind sense complex is doing things, but you know that I am akarta. And karma and akarma. But some people may say that I am sitting doing nothing means, but if you sit doing nothing willfully and still take yourself as a karta who is not doing anything, that also is really karma, correct? In fact, not doing anything is not very easy. Unless you have this jnanam, not doing anything is always a problem. Some people cannot even sit for 5 minutes without doing anything. Correct? Nahi kastit kshanamapi jatu tishtat yakarma krite karyate hyavashak karma sarva prakriti jayat gunaihi. Like that, in the Gita 2nd chapter also Bhagavan says this. So even for a kshana you cannot be there without doing anything, because your very nature will force you. This trigunatmika prakriti, which also is your nature, it will force you to do things. But the understanding is what Prakriti is the one who is doing. I have nothing to do with that. If you have that understanding, even though you may be engaged in lot of activity, you are not really doing anything. Correct? So, or you can be leading a life where you don't do anything much. Okay. Shariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisham, like that. So even in the Gita, Bhagavan presents 2 types of lifestyles for jnani. Karmanya abhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. He says, like Janaka who was a king. If you are a king and a jnani, you have to do karma, the kingly duties. So much karma is there. But still, even though karmani abhipravritaha means what? Completely engaged in activities, but you are still naiva kinchit karoti saha. He does not do anything because he has this knowledge. Or you can have an active lifestyle where what you are sitting somewhere like Tiruvannamalai. If you go to Tiruvannamalai and sit, somebody will feed you anyway. You sit along that Girivalam road, you don't have to worry about food. You can go to some tank or something, water tank, take a bath, have one cloth. What do you need really? You can, in Indian climate, you can even sit under a tree if you don't mind mosquito bites and all that, which you will get used to in some days. You can live under a tree. You don't have to do anything. People will come and feed you. Eat that and sit. You will become a Mauni Baba also. You can become. In fact, somebody will come and then build an ashram around you. If you become a Mauni Baba, it is even better, I think. Anyway, but Shariram Kevalam Karma Kurvan Napnoti Kilbisham. Kurvan Na Apnoti Kilbisham. You don't gain any papa or punya or anything. This body has come into existence. It will go away in time. Let it go. Whatever is the prarabdha, as per that it is happening. So you can lead any kind of lifestyle once you are a jnani, but none of that karma touches you. It can never touch you, like even the water cannot touch the lotus. Oh, hey, okay, then what? But what about all this karma? How do I understand that all these activities are there? And regarding this, what our jnanis have said, if you see that, so again, this differentiation between the Prakriti Jair Gunaihi, we say, correct? The gunas which are there, which are part of the Prakriti, which are there, from there they come, and then they only become this entire Srishti. So they are the doers. Gunaha Guneshu Vartante. That is the jnanam which all the jnanis have. So that's what they have also said. Vagdeha manasairiha karma chaya kriyata iti buddha prahuhu yekopi naham yesham karta tat karmanam nasmi. So Vagdeha deha manasaihi iha karma chayaha kriyate. So all the activities are done by the organ of speech, the physical body, or your mind, correct? Whenever we talk of karma, we say there are three types of karma, correct? Kayikam karma means all the body, physical body, whatever it is doing. Vachikam karma, manasam karma, like that. So even when we talk about upasana, puja, all these things, correct? Puja is kayikam karma, we say, or yajna is kayikam karma. And then this stotra patanam and all is there, or some kind of japa. If you are saying it loud, japa can be either again manasika or vachika. So if you are chanting something, then that is vachikam karma. All this Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, all these different Sahasranamas are there, stotras are there, or even Swadhyaya you do, or Veda also we chant, Veda mantras, Rudram Chamakam, Suktas, that's all vachikam karma. And then manasam karma also, you do upasana, purely visualizing in your mind. No, all that, okay. Karma chayaha kriyate iti buddhaha prahuhu. So what do the buddhaha, the jnanis say about all this karma? Okay. So they say what? All this karma which is collected, okay, and which is done by all this body, mind, sense complex. In this, I am not one. That's what they say. Correct? What do they say? Yesham ekaha api na aham. So amongst this Vak, Deha, Manas, the body, mind, sense complex, I am not there really. But the Ajnani takes the body, mind, sense complex as I. That is the problem. But if you do this, Viveka is there for you. If you have this knowledge, Viveka Jnanam, discriminatory knowledge, that I am not one of these things. I am separate. Okay. And also what? Tat karmanam karta nasmi. Whatever they are doing, that action also I am not doing, in fact. It is all their activities. I wrongly identify with that and then suffer. So really speaking, I am not doing any karma. I have nothing to do with that. They are doing something amongst themselves, but I go and identify with that. Once you identify with that, all suffering starts. You get up from sleep and identify with an individual body, all problems. Along with the individuality, all problems come. Okay. So what do I do? You do Sharanagati. Sharanagati also has to be born out of knowledge, correct? What is the Sharanagati? The best Sharanagati is what? Surrender all your limitations. Your individuality is a limitation, in fact. Give it to Ishvara. It is Ishvara's Ritti. Give it to Ishvara. Then you are free. If you surrender all your limitations, you will discover that you are the limitless. That is the greatest surrender, correct? There is no surrender is not holding on to some jivatvam and say, no, no, I will be your dasa, this and that. That is all okay to start with. Because even considering oneself as a dasa of Ishvara, you have certain freedom you gain immediately. Because now you don't have to take responsibility for anything. It is all Ishvara's. So that gives you a certain leisure. But further what you discover, once you surrender everything, once you surrender even the thing by which you surrendered, that is what yenat yajati tat yaja, like that in the Mahabharata, it is a very highly quoted verse. So you give up everything first, you surrender everything, and then even the idea that I surrendered also you surrender. The by which you surrendered, the ego, one has to give up, the individuality one has to give up. And then what you discover that you are really this conscious entity, and I am not the doer of anything, and I am not one of this anatma. Therefore, I have nothing to do with any of these things. This is the jnana. So once you have this jnana, what happens? Karma phala bija nashad janma vinasho na chatra sandeha buddhva evam apagata tamaha saviteva bhati saviteva abhati bharupaha. So karma phala bija nasha. So once you have this jnanam, the ajnana is destroyed. Ajnana is the bija. So ajnanam makes you think that you are limited. Once you think you are limited, then you have desires because you want to get rid of the limitation. Once you have desires, you have to do something about it. Karma will come. So ajnana, kama, karma. This is how it is always presented in the Shastra. Ajnana is the bija from which kama is there. Then kama becomes the bija for all the karma. Once you do karma, you are collecting more and more karma. That then becomes a self-propelling vicious cycle. Okay. And then how do I get rid of this means what? In any circle, you go to the center, there cannot be any motion there, correct? There is no activity really. If you are at the end of the spoke on the rim, then all activities are there. You think you are the doer. But you go to the center, there is no activity there. Correct? You go to the other end of the spoke, that is the jnanam. Even though something is rotating, it has got nothing to do with me really. That is the Kala Chakra. That is Bhagavan's Chakra, in fact. Let it rotate. I have nothing to do with that. That is the jnanam. So once you have that jnanam, that ajnanam, the bija is gone, then you are no more a kami. In fact, you become atma kamaha, apta kamaha, and all. Beautifully it is said in the Vidyaranya Upanishad. Akamaha. So, in fact, whatever you can desire, everything is non-separate from atma. That means you are atma kamaha. Correct? And by that only you become apta kamaha also, because everything is then, all the desires are you only. You have already gained it. Whatever you can desire, it is already you. That is the reality of the Atma. Therefore, you are Atma Kamaha, Apta Kamaha. And in reality, in fact, you are not a Kami, Karta Bhokta only. This is the teaching. And because of this, what? The Ajnana is gone. Karma Pala Bija is destroyed. Nashat. Then there can be no more any Janma. Janma Vinashaha Nacha Atra Sandeha. You don't have to have any doubts. Because even like I said already, whatever karma which is done in this janma or even after jnanam due to prarabdha, None of that can touch you. It is like lotus in water, and they will not, they are all like then burnt seed, they cannot give rise to anything. So all these analogies have been given already. It is summarized here. So don't have any doubt. Okay. You are no more part of this cycle. So with this jnanam, what happens? Buddhva evam apagata tamaha. So it is like as though the sun has been covered. Correct? Covering is gone. Tamas here is darkness. But again, the dark, it is like the sun eclipsed. But then what? In reality, sun is not eclipsed. Understand that. The eclipse is only from the standpoint, some standpoint. If you look at the sun with the moon's shadow on it, then it can be eclipsed. But that is only a very, very small, limited view, ajnani view. In reality, sun cannot have any darkness in it. It is always shining. Correct? So, this is said in the Gita also, correct? Ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. And then in the next verse he says, Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanaha tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. So in the 5th chapter, once this ajnana is destroyed, which is the bija, which is talked about here, this mula jnanam is gone. Karma pala bija, which is mula jnana, it is destroyed. And then what? That is the tamas we are talking about. Ajnana also is talked about as tamas or darkness. It is like a cloud which is covering the sun. But even the sun, the cloud itself, you are able to see only because of the sun which it is covering. Like that, Ajnana also is known. Like, I don't know. Like that, correct? Ajnana also is known only due to this Sakshi Chaitanya, the consciousness which is witnessing. But that also is covering in one way. And once that Ajnanam is gone, the tamas is gone. Correct? Apagata tamaha. For them, there is no more darkness. And Savita iva abhati bharupa. Abhati is very important here because you are then always shining. Okay. You are always the same conscious entity only. That's why Pashyannapi na pashyati, like that in the Swayam Jyotir Brahmanam also in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is said, even in sleep, it is seeing, but it is seeing that it is not seeing anything. Like that we have to put it. Okay. Because its Swarupa never changes. It is always the same, correct? Drashtuhu drishte viparilopo na vidyate avinashitvat, like that it is said, beautiful. So the sight of the seer, correct? The seer of the sight is there. That is the consciousness. That seer never stops seeing. It is unceasingly seeing. It has no viparilopa. Why? Because while seeing only it does not see, we say. Correct? Because you know that I don't know. That also is seeing only. That also is knowing. It always has the ability to know. The awareness is there. The capability to know is there. Nothing is there to be seen. Therefore, it doesn't see. Seeing only, it doesn't see. That's why we say, like that, it is always shining. Sun is always of the same nature of brightness only. It is bharupaha. From some standpoint, you can say that cloud is covering and all that, or there is an eclipse, sun is eclipsed, etc. Those things are all not actually true. So this is the jnana drishti. And okay, the other next verse we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
Thank you.